What's up guys, this is Balázs from Racing Brick. The 2022 LEGO Speed Champions lineup was great with a whole bunch of cool vehicles. Two of them arrived later in August and they are part of a special new sub-theme, movie cars. We had a classic one, the James Bond Aston Martin DB5 and Dom's 1970 Dodge Charger RT from Fast and Furious. You could see these cars in multiple videos this year on this channel, together with some great presentations by the design mastermind behind the Speed Champions series, Chris Stamp himself. He wanted to know what other movie cars you'd like to see in the lineup, and two of them were massively popular. One is of course Brian's orange Supra from the first Fast and Furious movie, the one that would be a perfect match for the Charger. Unfortunately last year we already had a Supra, although a very different model, but this made this option less likely to happen. I assume when this Supra was chosen, no one thought about movie cars, so please don't blame the guys for wasting the model like this. But luckily there was another super popular choice, Brian's other iconic car, and as you see the Speed Champions team really cares about the fans and your feedback. The first 2023 Speed Champions car coming in January will be Brian's Nissan Skyline GT-R R34 from Too Fast Too Furious. The set number is 76917, I don't have any official photos at this point. Sorry to interrupt, this is me from the future right before the release of this video. I did not have access to the official photos as I said, but apparently some retailers did and they shared them before the embargo, so here they are. You can see how the box will look like, and here is a high-resolution official photo about the car. Now back to the topic. But I do have an excellent presentation from Chris and some close-up shots from the Fan Media days. I had the honor to talk to him multiple times about the set, so you will see a mashup of the best and most detailed footage. Many thanks to Jay from Jay's Brick Blog for the close-up photos. Please note that the model and the minifigure you will see here is not the final production version. Some prints are still stickers, some prototype elements are 3D printed and spray painted, so the aim is to show you an impression how will it look like. And now Chris has the stage.
You might remember that last year we introduced a couple of cars. I don't know if you remember the names. There was a Aston Martin and a Dodge. I think they were in movies we might have seen. But we heard you guys. You want more of that. So I would like to introduce you to another iconic movie and TV vehicle from a different movie, but maybe a familiar movie franchise. And I would like to introduce you guys to Brian O'Connor's Nissan Skyline from Too Fast, Too Furious. And again, we're trying to push the boundaries with this one. We're trying to take what we did with the first two movie and TV vehicles and advance that. So what's super cool about this vehicle? Well, if you like Fast and Furious or not, if you like this specific version or not, if you like the Nissan Skyline, you'll know that there's one super iconic detail. We tried to include on the Nissan Nismo back in 2020, but that is the tail lights. And what you can see on this is that we've actually been able to brick build them so that they have the correct proportions to each other and the correct offset. So that is the detail just on the car I'm super excited about. But if you're a specific fan of the Fast and Furious, you know that there is two main details that you have to include on Brian's vehicle. One is the neon lights. So unfortunately, we haven't included a light brick, but we've give you a little wink and an Easter egg in there that this car has neon lights in the movie. At our scale, you can't physically fit in a light brick, so I apologize for that for those who say build in an ejector seat in James Bond's car, build in neon lights throughout all of Brian's car. At this scale, please forgive us for that. But the second detail is the striping. Now, what you might notice is that this is the first time we're decorating wheel arches. And not just once, but mirrored left and right on both sides. And this is, again, it's a game changer for Speed Champions. We've done so many race cars where you'll see the livery go and then it kind of stops awkwardly at the wheel arch and then it kind of continues afterwards. What this does is open the door for us to even more race cars in the future. So hopefully you guys will see and you'll be happy with the result that we've been able to do that to truly achieve the look that we're aiming for with Brian's car. We've introduced a couple of new elements, and this car includes a new 6-spoke Too Fast Too Furious wheel trim. So this is the same one in the movie that you'll see. And the reason for that is because with a lot of our race cars, we use the 5-spoke or we use the 989 spoke. And that's great. That works for most cars, and we can mix up the colors, and we're trying to introduce new wheels when it's really specific with decorations and things. When it came to this car, you can't achieve that with those executions. So we've had no choice but to make a brand new wheel for this, which we think just shows you how much this car means to us in the Speed Champions garage. And hopefully you guys will love it as well. It wouldn't be Speed Champions without some funky builds. So if you look at the front of this, you'll see that we've made the striping 3 modules wide, even though it's an 8-wide car, which has meant that we've had to do some side building and some offsetting and use Nexonite shields at weird angles and all that stuff. I'm not going to spoil too much. I'll wait till you get this in your hands to tell us, does it show you a thing or two that you've never seen in a previous Speed Champions car? That'll be really good to hear, as always. And the last thing that's really cool about this car is, just like the first two, you do get Brian O'Connor as a minifigure. I have him right here to show you guys. So he is there with his 2K arms, which is, again, a first for LEGO Speed Champions. We've never done that. We always have him in the race suit, fully covered. This is the first time we're doing 2K arms, so we're very excited by that. But the interior, we've took what we've done before and we've tried to raise the bar a little bit. So with this interior, we're not including just 1 or 2, but actually 3 NOS bottles in the side. We've heard you guys ask for it, we're finally including the flower element in there, because who doesn't have a Speed Champions car without a flower element? We're including decorated seats like we did on the McLaren Elva, because the racing seat is quite iconic to this car. When you see Brian in the car, it's not just the exterior that's all blue and gray, but it's also the interior. So we've tried to capture that as well. And then we haven't included just 1 or 2, but actually 3 screens. I don't know how easy that is for you guys to see with the lighting. I don't know if you can see that or not. But we've got 3 different screens in there, and the 3 different gauges that he uses to measure his NOS. So with this interior, we tried to go all out and take what we did, not just in the previous like McLaren Elva and things, but also in the previous Fast and Furious SKU, and tries to raise the bar as much as we could within such a tiny 6x4 kind of space. So this is our 3rd movie and TV vehicle. Hopefully you guys like it. We know that you guys said that you didn't want to wait another year to get it second half year. So that's why we've mixed the formula up and we've forced it into the first half year so we can get it to you guys even faster than we normally would. So hopefully you like this new addition to the Speed Champions family.
So this is the brand new Nissan Skyline GT-R R34, and I really like all the details. I will of course do a detailed building review with all the design trickery going on inside, but you can already see how complex the front end is with the vertical Nexo shields mentioned by Chris, this corner attached upside down, and so on. The printed wheel arch is a huge step forward. This really shows me how the Speed Champions team is trying to push the boundaries of their technology every year just to be able to deliver something better for the fans. I'm sure a lot of you wanted an official Brian minifigure as well. He's here in his proper outfit from the movie, and although these 2 cars never met on screen, I'm sure there will be tons of role-playing opportunities for the kids, and adults of course. This is the first 2023 Speed Champions set to be revealed. There will be much more of course, and unfortunately I cannot talk about them yet, but don't worry, I will share all the details together with Chris as soon as possible. I really hope I will be able to get my hands on the Nissan soon. Until then, let's talk about it and its novelties. How do you like it? Is this really you wanted to see? Let me know in the comments, guys. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.